linear media and the switch to on-demand and streaming media. Years ago, we had to be on time sitting in front of the TV so we won't miss our favorite show. But now we can decide what to watch, when to watch, and even where to watch. So, what exactly happened to people's media consumption over these last years? The main thing is, it switched from linear to on-demand. But how did it come to that? And what are the impacts on our culture, society, and the media industry? Welcome back everyone to FASHIONY-Magazine. In today's video, we'll be exploring how social media and internet content affect society. If you'd like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe to view more videos about fashion, society, and lifestyle on our channel. Streaming audiovisual content through the internet has surged in the past 2 decades. Statistics show that 85% of US households have at least one video streaming subscription. Cable and satellite TV providers, on the other hand, report that millions of people are unsubscribing from live television. Yet, the internet has only been public for about 30 years. With so much change in such little time, what are the impacts the internet, streaming, and social media have had on us as people? Without further ado, let's turn back the clock to the late 1800s. Telephones and film. Telephone systems were developed in the late 1860s and 1870s. These devices were followed up by phonographs and record players to share pre-recorded music and audio. Into the 1880s, inventors like Thomas Edison started to take this technology and cameras a step further by creating machines that would allow you to view frames of images. These were the first moving pictures and were later accompanied with music. Around this time, businessmen, investors, and entertainers started experimenting with films and projectors on the west coast of the United States. By 1885, Heinrich Hertz developed a design for the antenna. His experiments on electromagnetic waves with cables led to the creation of the radio, which was used for sending telegrams and audio. Radio and television. Utilized in sharing news and correspondence between stations during war times, the network's infrastructure and use for radios boomed through the early 1900s. Inventors like John Baird, Philo Farnsworth, and Vladimir Sorkin experimented soon after with ways that you could scan images, send them through radio waves, and project them onto screens for people to watch. These breakthroughs encouraged investments from different companies and the production of specialized camera equipment, studios, transmitters, and receivers to allow for customers to view live events from wherever their TV was set up. By the end of World War II, people craved entertainment and information. The television industry was in a place to fill in that need, and the business from this period produced more broadcasts, experiments, and growth for technology. TVs went from large and bulky with small screens, becoming slimmer with larger screens. The 1950s brought remote controls. The 60s featured color television and cheaper TV prices. Then the 70s and 80s brought various designs and tastes to TV while integrating more features and greater visual quality. Such widespread communication culminated in the birth of the internet, January 1st, 1983. The systems and technology were in place for a new network of electronics to share information with one another, this time with computers. Computers, internet, and the in-between. The concept for computers can be found way back in the 1940s, when large machines were being developed to calculate numbers and codes during World War II. Various researchers across the world added to the technology, with the next step being to connect different computers and programs in networks similar to radio and later television. In the beginning, computers and storage servers were large, bulky, and expensive. Servers could be connected into networks, but the time it took to pass along information meant that people had to wait a long time to receive messages and other data. Mathematicians and other scientific minds like Bob Kahn initiated the development of a new system in the 1970s that allowed for algorithms and codes to store and transfer information more quickly in regional servers. New technology and processes were making computing more efficient and accessible. Research into the internet benefited the military as a means of communication through electronic mail and storing information. The use of computers spread throughout government agencies in 1985 and were popularized in commercial and research uses by the 1990s. The move to streaming. In the late 90s and early 2000s, TVs were more widespread, affordable, and even portable. More features were being introduced, and companies also took to creating devices that could augment or add to the television experience. DVD players, VCR players, and other examples like DVR allowed people to watch content that they purchased, recorded, or downloaded so that they could watch whatever and whenever they wanted. The fresh new technology of the internet also created opportunities for people to share movies that they could then view on their televisions. One such example was in 1997 when Reed Hastings got the idea to start a subscription-based company that sent movie rentals through the mail, his company, Netflix. In 2004, the Facebook.com was launched by Mark Zuckerberg and friends for Harvard students to connect online. In 2005, Stephen Chin, Chad Hurley, and Jawed Karim established a website for people who wanted to share home movies. Their company was called YouTube. By 2007, Netflix delved into streaming content directly from their website as a bonus to sending movies through the mail. Jeff Bezos proposed making Amazon Unbox, which became Amazon Prime Video. NBC started to experiment by creating Hulu with live ads, like TV but online. Internet technology started to catch up with the trends, allowing people to enjoy watching or listening to content without long buffering times. As a result, there were more options for convenience, personalization, and interactivity, making streaming more and more attractive. Soon after, Disney and other companies like Sony, Vudu, YouTube, AMC, CBS, and more caught on to hosting streaming services with niche interest in mind. The controversy of content. Technology within the past 100 years has accelerated beyond our wildest dreams. Network connectivity, devices that connect and share information with each other, and the widespread availability of phones and other internet-enabled technology has increased our ability to consume information and media on a daily basis. Screen time, as a result, has become a predominant part of people's days. 10% of Americans have said that there were times when a show mattered more to them than their friends or family. Some people even report that the time they view shows or other content online consumes their identity while doing so. This makes sense as more content is viewed on individual devices instead of on home TVs or movie theaters where groups of people would come together in the viewing experience. Filmmakers and content creators are then placed in higher positions of influence as people spend more time viewing and learning from online interactions than from in-person ones. This begs the question, is the internet connecting more people through content, or is it dividing people based on their interests, beliefs, and opinions? People are leaning more towards the convenience of their devices to stop, start, and rewind the content they want. Advertisers have realized how engrossing and divisive this power can be and customized their approach to fit their content and advertising into what people look for online. There is a kind of creating big borders and niches, but in these times we can barely talk about niche because they're so immense. There are more gaps between ages, cultures, target groups, and even social classes. Ask a teenager about their favorite social media star, then ask their parents if they have ever heard of them. Older marketers, people, or companies do not consider how big a market is. For example, even in the beginning of esports, it has already been a huge hit with big financial impacts. For a lot of people, it is unknown how a social media star is even making money, not to mention how much. There is a permanent use of media and a missing silence or boredom. Whatever people do, they try to consume media, a podcast, a video in the background, or an audiobook. The resulting unseen yet ever-present interaction between social media and streaming programs, advertisers, and viewers have turned people into more active consumers instead of passive watchers of entertainment. This has its benefits, like allowing everyday people to share information and entertainment with or without professional infrastructure, cost, and teams of people who traditionally made and shared media. Yet, this also puts people into invisible boxes where they can be influenced by more and more extreme views and interests. There are also studies and observations being made that show the constant feed of content in people's lives can reduce sleep quality, make certain mental health issues worse, increase fatigue, and decrease people's attention spans and patience. Pros. Let's take this a step further. With smartphones and smart technology being commercialized and democratized, people can have cinematic quality recordings and experiences in their own homes, not to mention in the palms of their hands. Cinema companies and providers need to focus on the experience instead of just watching a movie. With this accessibility comes a certain freedom for different topics, niche interests, and representation for greater diversity in modern pop culture. In addition, that means that people from across the world can be exposed to different ideas, traditions, and peoples. They can meet online, talk, discuss, share, and play based on their similar interests. That brings a certain measure of success for series like Money Heist and Squid Game that are able to transcend national boundaries, connecting people from different languages and cultures. Cons. On the other hand, some of these benefits are not available to everyone. If you cannot afford the newest phone, Wi-Fi plan, TV, VR headset, or other device, you are essentially blocked from the online community. This can put pressure on communities that do not have easy access to money or technology, since they won't have the same communication and opportunities that other well-off communities have online. There is also competition built around becoming Insta-famous, dedicating time and resources to creating shorter, quicker, flashier content that catches the wave of recent trends before moving on to another. Before, the dream was to be an engineer, a doctor, an astronaut, even a pirate. Now, becoming an influencer is a popular option for what kids want to be when they grow up. But is that good? It is as easy as ever to simply opt out of traditional, orthodox views, groups, or activities when your phone can be an easy escape or pathway to other groups, games, shows, and people. People choose to simply go from group to group, forum to forum to find what interests them at the time. Trends online move so quickly that there is no consistency. There is a lack of traditions, and as a result, it is harder to explore deeper into different ideas. The internet becomes superficial without substance. This can even be said for emotions and sharing. While it is easier to share how you feel online, examples like sorry videos, backstories, and charity are also liked and shared with some degree of business to them. It is as if there are manipulative undertones that persuade people to follow and support creators who do these things, and then they use these views to make more and more money off of so-called good deeds. Another shadow that comes with more niche content is their use as target groups or alternative ways for algorithms, social media executives, marketers, and other producers in the field of content to divide people up for advertising. Certain instances during recent elections have shown that these groups can be taken advantage of by people with false intentions. So with the lack of consistency, structure, or tradition in an ever-changing, ever-moving internet environment, what is there to connect future generations to the past? There isn't always a set standard for professionalism online, and so information can be misleading. Conclusion. We can come away from this discussion knowing that there is a lot of freedom and opportunity in change. Though the people and technology are different, there are many conclusions and lessons we can take away from the observations we make of our society today. Written text, art, literature, television, and now internet content are very similar. They all represent mediums of communicating ideas, just in different ways with different tools. There are historical examples of each of these mediums being used for spreading false ideas and propaganda, or for other intentions. Yet with each medium comes the responsibility to learn its strengths and weaknesses and to use it wisely. We here at FASHIONY-MAGAZINE believe that what we take in, what we support, can influence ourselves and those around us. So tell us, what do you think? Where will we take the internet next? Is the move towards the internet and streaming the right move, or are we taking things too fast? What do you see as the next big thing in television, entertainment, and technology? Leave your comments in the discussion below and join us for another video where we bring you the best in fashion, society, and lifestyle. Till next time everyone, like and subscribe. This is FASHIONY Magazine. See you in the next video.